Forward. So we're rolling. All right, everybody ready? We're going to jump right into our first go-to training session activity. Everybody ready? Everybody take a seat. No fighting over the seats, please. Down in front. Everybody ready? All right, cool. Everybody is ready. Okay, so first question. And please just type your answer, your response into the chat box. All right. Everybody, just be serious for reals. First question. Who here has a tattoo? Who has a tattoo? Oh man, quite a few. Jeff's got a few. Jermaine's got more than one. Andrew, you may leave. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. He told me to leave the session because I didn't have a tattoo. I'm just, I, you know what? My New Year's resolution will be to ease up on the sarcasm. That's going to be really hard for me. Really hard. Anywho, what is that like? Most of us in the room have some ink. No, it's cool, Jermaine. No worries. And that's the cool thing about online education. We might be at a Starbucks, or maybe we're laying in our bed with our jammies, or on the couch, right? Um, and you might be wondering, why does Eddie have us all muted? That's because I'm a big mean jerk. No, I'm kidding. The reason why we're all muted is, like I said, we're kind of all over the place. We're kind of all over the place. Like, you might be at home, maybe you got some kids or some noisy dogs. Maybe you have a noisy dog named Cujo. Or you might be, at a restaurant, getting free Wi-Fi. So it might be noisy where you are. So, which is one of the main reasons why we mute everyone, because otherwise it would be just total noise chaos, and you wouldn't be able to hear me and all that cool stuff. Anyway, I don't know if it was like this for you guys, but for me, it was the magic number as far as getting the tattoo was turning 18. Was it like that for you? As soon as you turn 18, you're like, I mean, some places won't let you in the door unless they don't care, or you're supervised, or you have a friend that has done, knows how to operate the tattoo gun. But for me, there was like an irresistible pull towards a faraway land to get a tattoo. And I'm not going to tell you my age. I might ruin. As soon as I turned 18, I called up my buddy, and he's kind of like, I always like draw him into all of my adventures and crazy endeavors. So I'm like, I didn't have to say anything. As soon as he heard my sinister cackle, he knew what I had in mind for that day. So we jumped in the car. But folks, back in the day, once upon a time, tattoo parlors were often, you kind of had to drive a ways, and sometimes they were not in a very welcoming part of town. But at any rate, we walk into this tattoo parlor, and I'm not even joking. The tattoo artists of this facility, they were like 6'4" Harley dudes. And when I say Harley dudes, I'm talking like they had the leather jackets, the long scraggly hair, long beards, sunglasses, mind you, indoors. Sunglasses indoors. Very, very intimidating. So picture scrawny old Eddie. I'm walking up to them, and they're towering over me, and I ask these gentlemen, right? I ask them the single most redundant question that they get asked every day. What do you think they get asked every day? Anybody know? Anybody want to take a guess? What do these guys get asked every day at the tattoo parlor from customers? Anyone? Not how are you? um, all right, I'll just give it away. They ask, does it hurt? And that was the first thing that came out of my mouth. I probably should have said how are you? I probably should have, a nice, salutation, but exactly. I'm like, does it hurt? So they look at me and they kind of look at each other and they both looked like they just wanted to bust out into laughter. But they were smart businessmen and they composed themselves. And I'll never forget his response, his how he answered me. It resonates to this day. And folks, you're gonna have to excuse me. I'm really lousy at impressions, but I'm gonna try to, impersonate this gentleman. He goes, well, the outline kind of feels like a cat scratch, and the coloring feels like an eagle claw. And I'm thinking in my head, well, you know what? I have been scratched by a cat once upon a time, but never an eagle. No, I can't say I've ever been scratched by an eagle before, but you know what? It doesn't sound too bad. Just hook me up. So I jump right in the chair, not knowing what is in store for Eddie Tapia. And you know what doesn't help at all? It doesn't help that the tattoo gun, well, it doesn't help that it's called a tattoo gun, but or drill, whatever you call it. It doesn't help that when those suckers turn on, they sound like the torture instruments that you often hear in horror films. You know, when the poor helpless protagonist is being tortured, and he screams and screams and screams. Anywho, they do sound like this. So that's not a very comforting sound. Now, I don't know what happened, folks, but Eddie must have gone into some kind of happy place. I don't remember anything. All I remember is maybe like 3 hours later, my friend, he kind of nudges me and he's like, dude, are you okay? I'm like, huh? What's wrong? And he goes, dude, look at your face. And so I look at my face in the mirror, and no lie, my face is blood red. I have sweat pouring down my forehead. And I look terrified. I look scary. And he's like, should I have him stop? And I'm thinking, you know what? No, it's fine. I'll just endure this for the next hour or so. Mind you, I was already in the chair for 3 hours. So, and I'm thinking, this guy's not going to stop even if I beg him. So I think it must have been like 4 hours later. I was done with the tattoo, feeling really good about myself. It's kind of a milestone in one's life to get a tattoo. You guys, you guys and gals, whatever, you know, if you have one, it's a big deal, especially the first tattoo. It's always a big deal. So the next hurdle was to get home, make it home without letting mom see the tattoo. You know what? I don't know if you got Latin moms. Any Latin moms out there? Any Latin moms? If you have a Latin mom, or if you know of a Latin mom, or have heard, they tend to have what's called a sixth sense, whatever you want to call it, X-ray vision. But so I next morning I'm like out the door. I like have a long sleeve black shirt on, and I am almost out the door, and of course I hear the voice. My mom's voice, bless her heart. She has a really thick accent. She's like, "What is that?" And I'm like, nothing, mom. I gotta go. It's cool. I'll see you later. Bye. Love you." So I don't know how. She must have X-ray vision, but she saw the tattoo, and you would have thought that Eddie Tapia had murdered someone. It was absolute chaos, absolute pandemonium in the Tapia house. There was screaming. Oh my God. It was like crazy. And like, what did you do that for? You're never gonna amount to anything. We're gonna get it removed tomorrow. And oh man, I'm feeling like really small right now. They've It's been a while, but now they've come to accept me for who I am. And the cool thing nowadays, folks, is tattoos are really not that big of a deal. So many people have them, and not to mention tattoo parlors. they're all over the place, right? Or either that, or you know someone, you have a friend of a friend that knows how to do it. So it's really cool. It's really cool. Now it's not that big of a deal, and so that is my tattoo story. And the reason I share that with you folks, the reason I share that with you is that is exactly how we are going to approach this class. We're going to approach this class like a story. Creative presentation is all about storytelling. Storytelling. Long over are the days where, you guys are so sick of like just staring, and you probably have had to sit through presentations where on the screen the presenter had nothing but bullet point after bullet point after bullet point, and just they're doing the clicker thing and they're just like looking at their slides, right? No, this is all about creative presentation. This is all about telling stories, getting your audience, or trying to get your audience interested, engaging them, asking them questions, right? Connecting with them through the use of storytelling. So I want you to be thinking about that all throughout the month for every assignment. Now, one of the very first assignments that we're going to be diving right into is the 1.4 professional analysis assignment, where now I'm going to be going into a lot more detail, but just this to briefly summarize, you're going to be checking out a lot of TED Talk presentations. TED Talks are awesome. TED Talks, you're going to learn so much about presenting about TED Talks, observing all kinds of presenters. Now, keep in mind, folks, that some of the presenters that you watch, they might not be great. I've literally watched hundreds and hundreds of TED Talks, and some of the TED Talks just blew my mind, brought me to tears, and I'm not going to lie, some of them kind of bored me to death. So, but you know what? It's the bad ones that you can learn so much from. So I want you to keep that in mind. Storytelling. It's all about telling a story. When you talk to your buddies, your friends, your parents, whoever, and you're sharing a story, you're going to have a beginning, a middle, and an end, right? And you're going to make sure that they're listening to you. Otherwise, what is the point, right? It's all about stories. People remember stories. They don't so much remember facts, but if you throw in some shocking statistics, that's always good. That's always like the icing on the cake, right? So, who's ready to hear some survival tips? You know what? When I was a wee lad, when I was a wee lad and I was in college, nobody told me, how to survive college. It was kind of like, you know what? Figure it out, pal. And if you graduate, great. If not, I don't care. No, so I don't want to be that way. I want to impart what I've learned and what I've seen, students, really benefit from. So, so I'm going to share with you guys some survival techniques, but it's not just survival tips to apply for this particular class. It's going to be to apply for every class at Full Sail. So here we go. One of the very, very biggest hurdles that you will have to face in your degree program, especially the first class, this creative presentation, is time management. It doesn't sound like a big deal. You're kind of like, yeah, I guess that kind of makes sense. But I am telling you, folks, every month at the end of the month when I'm talking to the students, what did you guys think? How'd you guys do? Blah, blah, blah. They say the same thing. They always say, you know what, that it wasn't the technology, it wasn't any of the programs that I had difficulty with, wasn't any of the subject matter that was hard to understand. It was my time. I wish I managed my time better. Because this is a 4-week class, folks. And think about that. These weeks are going to fly by. They really are. So the sooner you get your time management down pat, whatever it takes, memo notes, post-it notes all over your room, tattoo reminders all over your body. No, wait, don't do that. Don't do that. It worked well in that film Memento, but in real life, I don't recommend it. But I digress. You just have to do what works for you. But sooner rather than later, here are a couple of things that I strongly recommend. Number one, pay attention. Sounds like a no-brainer, right? pay attention during these go-to sessions because I'm gonna be going over a lot of stuff. I'm gonna be going all over a lot of a lot of the instructions. And it's we tend to think, we as human people tend to think, you know what, I can multitask. I can watch Netflix while I watch this go-to training session. No, we cannot, because like I said, I'm going to go over a lot of stuff, and I don't want anybody missing out on important details on your assignment. Because what's going to happen is, yeah, you could sit through this entire session, but if you're not really paying attention, what's going to happen is you're going to have to watch the session again, or you're going to miss out. You'll find that you're going to miss something really important on your assignment that could potentially dock you 10 points. So I don't want that to happen to anybody. So yeah, pay attention. Um, or as much as possible. Like I said, this is recorded, and I think what I usually find to be the case is the more attention you pay, the less time you'll be spending watching the recording. Because some people like to rewatch it, just make sure that they got everything down pat. The cool thing is you'll be able to fast forward it, like just okay, yeah, I remember him saying that. Oh yeah, okay, I'm gonna fast forward now and so and so. But if you missed out a lot, you'll have to watch the whole thing over again. And I know it's my voice is kind of like, uh, claws on a chalkboard, whatever you want to call it. Um, it's no wonder I've been called Hiccup from How to Train Your Dragon. No lie, people say I sound like him, and at first it was very offensive, but now I've just kind of embraced it. they say they say I sound like a cross between Hiccup from How to Train Your Dragon and Ferris Bueller. I don't know which I sound more like, but yeah, that's just okay. Next, but seriously, pay attention. Also, you've probably heard this already, folks, about networking and how important it is. I am a firm believer that networking is kind of like critical for your success in the industry of your choice, whatever it might be, whether you're in music production or game art or graphic design. You really got to network. But during these sessions, I would say kind of avoid, the back and forth. I don't mind, a short, a couple of seconds of back and forth. But if you're doing a complete full-on conversation, I would say, save it for after the session where you can really devote, your complete attention to your classmates. So, and I don't want you to miss out on important information. Next, start your assignments first thing in the week. Even, I don't expect you to complete your assignment at the very, on Monday, but at the very least, you should open up your instructions on Monday. As soon as they're open to you, as soon as it becomes available, download your instructions, open them up, just see what's going on, see what you're going to need, see what makes sense to you, and then just little by little work on it throughout the week. Never, ever, 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 and ever want to wait until the weekend to start your assignments. You are going to be in a world of pain. Not for me, but seriously, these assignments, the way that these assignments and the way these courses are structured, there's just way too much to digest. So now, if you work on your assignment over the weekend, like say you start on Monday and you worked on it on Tuesday and Wednesday, and you just got to tidy some things up on over the weekend, that's fine. That's totally different. But if you're starting it on a Saturday or Sunday, no, 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 no. There will be many scream into pillow moments if you do that. Yeah, you're going to be pulling your hair out, and you don't need that stress. Am I right? You guys have really busy lives as it is, right? So who's going to procrastinate? The correct response should be no one, or not me, not I. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Jeff. Cool, cool, cool. All right, all right. I know it's hard, but you really got to be at the top of your game. And yeah, instructions. I always recommend review the instructions of the assignments before you get to the go-to sessions because I'll go over them again, but things are going to make so much more sense if you're on top of the reading, if you've checked out the instructions. That way you know what to ask, or you know what not to ask because maybe I answered it during the session, right? And like I said earlier, allow yourself at least a full week to work on the assignments. Now, you're going to hear me say this all month long, and it's something that most of my colleagues agree with me on. This class, create a presentation, your first month class at Full Sail. I strongly that it. Now, I don't say that to scare you, but I mean, think about this: your first class in college. You're in an online program. You're getting situated with financial aid, scheduling department. You're learning your way around the new platform, right? Not to mention, you also got your own life stuff to deal with. A lot of us, we got families, we got jobs, we got full time, part time jobs, right? Sometimes our part time jobs are more like full time jobs. So yeah, you gotta. It's no joke. It really is no joke. So I don't know if you heard from someone that online education is easy, or maybe somebody kind of was like, "Oh, you're taking school online? Oh, that must be easy." No, no, it is not. It is not. In fact, I I have a ton of respect for online students simply because you really have to be self-directed and self-motivated. It's so different if you're in the classroom because you got the teacher kind of yelling at you. If you got me as your teacher in the classroom, then I'm like hurling books at you, kind of reminding you of assignments and stuff. No, I don't do that. I'm just kidding. But for real. And again, this is this is not to scare anyone. This is simply to prepare. Prepare. It's nice to have a little friendly warning, or to kind of, all right, look, we're about to embark on a roller coaster ride. Fasten your seatbelts, right? So, ah, oh, another thing is, you might have noticed on your assignments, each of your assignments is weighted differently. Like some of your assignments might be weighted at 5%. Another assignment might be weighted at 10%, 15%, 20%. So all that adds up, and that kind of like determines your final average at the end. So you'll see, the average building up and up and up, depending, of course, on A, whether you submitted the assignment, or, B, completed it. My point is this, folks. Ideally, of course, you want to make sure you complete every assignment, right? Especially the more heavily weighted assignments. Maybe you're having a rough week, and maybe you're kind of like, you know what? I'm just so exhausted. Work has been miserable this week. I don't, to heck with Eddie. I don't want to do this assignment this week. And you decide not to do the assignment. But you come later to realize that that assignment was worth 20% of your grade. That's a huge chunk of your average, so you don't want that to happen. So, the second you find yourself, in a bind, or something's, it's very, very challenging, you're having a rough week, you're just not, things are not working out, please, please, please reach out to me sooner rather than later. Also, what about anybody contact their online student liaisons? Anybody been in touch with them yet? Cool, a couple of you guys. Oh, good, good, good. This is good. This is good. You really, really need to stay in touch with them. Um, check your emails. Check your voicemails. You may have already received some information from them. The idea is to just keep in touch with them. Try to keep in touch with them on a weekly basis. They are great people. They're a great resource to have in your corner anytime you got a question about something. They will definitely, if they don't have the answer, they will definitely direct you into the correct place. So yes, stay in touch with them. You'll be glad that you did. Also, of course, you're going to want to keep in touch with their, I'm sorry, keep up with the assigned reading. We got two textbooks. We got the Slideology by Nancy Duarte and the Resonate. I'm going to be talking a little bit more about those in a few minutes. Also, since this is an online education, degree, you're going to want to check your email at least every day. At the very least, check the class page. I'm always posting announcements. I'm always posting important information, and you just don't want to miss out. Or maybe you're getting an important email from a teacher, another classmate. You just want to make sure that you're checking that. I already mentioned the OSLs, the Online Student Liaison. Has anybody heard about lynda.com? Lynda.com? Every Full Sail student has a free lynda.com account, and the way to access it is you go to FS Connect. I'm going to type it right here, FS Connect. Once you're in FS Connect, you'll see the library. And then once you're in the library, you'll see lynda.com. Lynda.com is basically it's a gold mine of really awesome, high quality video tutorials on essentially any and every software program out there, and even subject matter. They say, for example, if you're in music production and you want to take a certificate program, watch a tutorial on mixing and mastering, or watch a tutorial on Logic Pro or Pro Tools, they have tutorials on that. Same thing if you're in graphic design or computer animation and you want to study programs like Photoshop or InDesign. Lynda.com has a ton of videos on that. They also have tutorials on Adobe Spark, Keynote, PowerPoint, Prezi. So like maybe you used PowerPoint, but it's been a while and you kind of want to get a refresher on it. Lynda.com has tutorials on that. So yeah, definitely check out lynda.com. It's really, really helpful. And what I'd like to suggest is don't wait till you think you need to use it. Start now. That way, when you're in those the courses, like where you're actually going to be mixing and mastering and stuff like that, you know what? You'll have an edge because you will have completed an entire tutorial. So you'll have an edge over the student that may not have done that. So yeah, it's really, really beneficial. I can't recommend lynda.com enough. Check it out. There's a nice yellow picture of that. Now, folks, this next slide, you guys just want to make sure we are still there. Everybody good? Okay, cool. Cool. All right. So we should all be on a slide that says tips continued. Now, what I'm gonna tell you guys now, this is just kind of a little heads up as far as like what we're doing next week. This is for next week's assignment for week 2. I don't want to get anybody all, overwhelmed or anything, but it's just kind of like, something that you might want to check out as far as what devices you got, what your, computer capabilities are and such and so forth. So in week 2, you're going to have an assignment that requires you to record your voice. That's in week 2, next week. Now, after that, you're going to have an assignment that requires you to not just record your voice, but also create a presentation using visual elements. So for week 3, that's when you're going to need to use a program like PowerPoint, like Keynote or Prezi or Adobe Spark. again, folks, this is just to give you guys a little heads up, what's coming down the pipe. And it's not to freak you out or anything. I am going to be going over this stuff in plenty more detail next week. The closer we get, it's just kind of like, hey, this is what's coming. If you want to get a head start as far as maybe exploring what's out there, exploring what you have, what resources you have, I always find it very beneficial. So what I would do is just make sure you don't have to do it this second, but like after the session, maybe, see if you got a mic, what kind of audio recording capabilities you have. Now, for next week's assignment, what a lot of students do is they just simply use the headphones that came with their smartphones. And they'll do their recording in their phone and they'll upload the MP3 just like that. And it does the trick just fine. Some people use their headsets that came with their gaming consoles. Yeah, you don't have to have like expensive equipment for this class at all, for real. You can get by with as far as next week's assignment with just recording into your phone. But again, more on that next week. Now, Audacity, what is that, Eddie? Audacity is a free online audio program. So let's say you don't have an audio program on your PC or Mac or whatever you got. Audacity is a lot like GarageBand. So you can record stuff, you can edit stuff, you can mix stuff. It's quite handy. It's quite handy. It's pretty user friendly, and I'm going to sound like an old man, but the great thing about this age that we live in, folks, is there is so much material on Audacity online, on YouTube. Oh my gosh, if you go to YouTube and you type in how to use Audacity, how to use Audacity with PowerPoint, how to use Audacity with such and such, you will find so many tutorials. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. But again, you won't need to use this stuff till week 2. I'm just giving you a little, little tips, a little tipsy. Little tips, not tipsy. Sorry, that sounded weird. Gosh, I apologize for that. All right, folks, moving right along. So yeah, for the week 3 presentation, you don't have to film yourself. So, one cool thing about this class is you are not going to be presenting live in front of a live audience of 100 plus people. No. So go ahead and breathe a sigh of relief. Yes, it's okay. I know everybody was like stressing over that. I think there were a few people that that might be bummed out and like, oh man, I really wanted to present. But yeah, you won't be presenting live. But and you don't have to film yourself if you don't want to. Cool. So for week 3's presentation, you can use any presentation program like Adobe Spark, PowerPoint, Keynote. Now, let me ask you this, folks. How many of you already set up your Office 365 accounts? All right. That is what I'd like to hear. You guys are on top of things. Guys and gals, sorry. I say guys a lot, but I don't mean anything by it. This is good. This is good. So Office 365, if you don't know about it, Office 365 is free to all Full Sail students. And what it basically has is it has Microsoft Word, it has PowerPoint, it has Excel, it has all those programs. So if you didn't have a presentation program before, well, now you do. If you didn't have Microsoft Word, a writing tool, now you do. So that's pretty cool, right? So yeah, if you didn't set it up yet, I strongly recommend doing so. That way you have something to work with. If you're having any issues setting it up or running into some technical stuff, definitely call FSO support, and the number is right here. I would definitely screenshot this baby. Screenshot 374 3572. Right. And don't forget, folks, this session is recorded, so if you didn't get a chance to screenshot or jot it down, it will be available for your viewing pleasure. Alrighty. So yeah, Office 365. Oh, little kind of tip there. If you're using PowerPoint on a mobile device, you won't be able to use audio for it. You might have to use a different presentation program like Adobe Spark. I know Adobe Spark works pretty well with mobile devices, and Adobe Spark is free. Let me just jot that down here. Adobe Spark. Adobe Spark. A lot of students have used Adobe Spark with really good success. Hooray. So yeah, it's Adobe Spark. I mentioned this because it's another possible tool that you can use for next week's assignment. And it's free. Free is pretty cool, right, folks? All right, moving right along. Ouch! C plus. Let me just a little kind of disclaimer about grades, and I say this to everyone. You know, I don't. Maybe you were a straight A student in the past, and here's the thing. I want you to keep something in mind, and I know I said this already, but I just to kind of emphasize, this is a 4-week class. It's an accelerated program. You got assignments due at the end of each week. There's a lot to digest. So it's a lot. So I don't want anybody to blow a fuse if you don't get an A plus in your assignment. So it doesn't mean that you're a failure. It doesn't mean that you should quit by no means. You know, it does definitely. It's all it means is that you may have overlooked something in the instructions, some little speck in the instructions. Maybe you missed something. It happens. It happens. That's one of the reasons why I'm always kind of like, you know, make sure you pay attention during the session. um, and yeah, so so yeah, just keep that in mind. It doesn't mean anything if you didn't get an A plus on the assignment. It probably just means that, you know, if you thought you got an A plus and but what you got instead was a B plus, well, you know what? I'm definitely going to tell you, first of all. I'm going to say, hey, you lost these points because you missed this, or you lost these points because you didn't have this. You know, I will always tell you. But yeah, just keep that in mind. I don't want, you know, it's I know as an artist, and I think, you know, as most artists, you guys would agree that we are very critical on ourselves. We're pretty hard on ourselves, right? Especially when we're making stuff, when we're making songs, or making, you know, artwork, poetry, whatever we just made. We're really harsh, you know, right? And that's okay. But this is all about improving. You know, you might not get things perfectly the first time, but let's try to get it, you know, as close to as possible, you know. And if you didn't, I'm going to help you out, you know, to make sure that you um, don't repeat that same mistake, right? So you guys know what this slide is from, right? I love that movie. It's a timeless movie. So yeah, definitely, you know, I'm here for you guys. If you have a question, please. And by the way, if you asked a question earlier and I missed it, I promise it's not because I'm ignoring you. It's the pesky thing about this control panel right here, this the go-to training control panels, the little chat box, they go by really fast. So I try to catch all the comments and questions as fast as I can, but sometimes I miss them. I'm sorry. But if that happens, if I missed a question of yours, please just shoot me an email and I'll do my best to help you out. Cool. We are here to help. We're here to help. Copyrighted material. Wait, let me just pause for a moment before before I chat about copyright material. I will say this, folks. Um, if you email me at midnight on Sunday or 2 a.m. on Sunday, there's a good chance I might be asleep. So just I know I'm terrible. Sometimes I sleep. I can't help it. Or if you email me or call me at 9 a.m. Sorry, 9 p.m. If you call me at 9 p.m. on Sunday, I definitely won't be on my computer. I'll be on the AMC channel, um, you know, watching something very important. Anyhow, those of you might get it. Okay, let's talk about copyrighted material. So all throughout the month, you're going to be, learning about how to utilize powerful images because that is one of the key elements of a successful, engaging, creative presentation. Like I said earlier, we don't use bullet points anymore. We don't stuff our slides, just cram them with nothing but words and words and facts upon facts upon. That's boring. Your audience is going to forget about that. So the point is we need to start learning how to look for powerful images, evocative images. So I always like to recommend, or at least, giving you guys resources on how to look for copyrighted materials. You're allowed to use images that you find from the internets, the interwebs, whatever you want to call it. But I always will I always recommend that you give credit where credit's due. So maybe on your assignment, like maybe at the last page or at the very, very bottom of your assignment, include the link where you found the image. Always give credit where credit's due. Cool. So here are, though, just wanted to throw this out here. Here are a couple of places that you can find copyright-free images. That's Creative Commons, archive.org, CompFight. There's a lot of places. I will say, try not to use images with that might have the watermark on them. You guys know what I mean by that? Watermark logos, like some of those big, huge websites. Um, they'll let you use their images, but they'll have the company logo on the front of it. And if you want to remove the logo from the image, you have to pay for it. So I don't want anybody to have to pay for anything, right? So here are a couple of places where you can find copyright-free images, or just find them. Do the old Google search, and like I said, just make sure you are at least including the original website link where you found that image. Cool. All right, college level. I got to nerd out on you, folks. I'm sorry. I got to be the grammar school nerd for just a second. It's interesting how when I'm reading discussions, I always read so many horror stories on high school English teachers and public speaking classes, and I'm just like, man, give these kids a break. Anywho, but for real, for as far as your anything that's graded, anything that you turn into me, and this includes discussion board assignments. So whatever you type on the discussion board, please, please proofread your work. Proofread your work. I'm talking, capitalize the beginning of your sentence, put a period at the end, and please avoid text type, this thing. There you go. The old lowercase I. See what I did there? The old lowercase i's. Now, I don't mind if you type lowercase stuff. I don't mind if you type fragments in this control panel. Yeah, that's fine as long as I can understand what you're saying. However, discussion board assignments, anything that's graded that you have to turn into me, please make sure you're proofreading. Cool. Oh, and definitely none of this. Or this. Like oh, I love these. Like when I get an email, folks, and this happens. You're don't roll your eyes at me. This happens. I sometimes I get this. I'll open an email. It won't have a subject heading. All it says is this. It just says this in cap locks. I need help. And I'm like, it's not signed. I don't know who sent it. They're not using their Full Sail email. It's got some kind of weird email address like funkyredmonkey@yahoo.com. I'm like, dude, I see that you need help, but who are you and what do you need help with? I want to help. Please tell me. You know what I'm saying? This is like I said earlier, you guys are rolling your heads, but it happens more than more than you would realize in this world of techness, in a world, no, for real though, in this world of texting, we are so used to writing shorthand text, the lowercase i's and emails. We're used to doing that, but I want you guys to get used to, digital literacy and online etiquette. It's just a good habit. And when you send an email like that, I want to be able to help you as fast as possible because if you're emailing me, it tells me you need help. So the more specific you can be in your email, the better. Then I know, okay, she needs help in this area. Okay, I can fire off my response immediately. Anywho, so that's my spiel on that. So moving right along, please proofread your work. Professionalism. You guys, did you hear about global professionalism standards? What is that all about, Eddie? Who is global No, it's not a person, it's a system. So Full Sail, every student has global professionalism standards, and at the very beginning of each class, you start off with 100 GPS points. So what it is it started off Full Sail executives. They met with a bunch of industry executives from all over the entertainment field. Like we're talking music, video game development companies, major players, and they asked the CEOs, what are some of the things that you look for in a candidate? What are some characteristics that you look for in a job applicant? And they all said the same thing. They all said like, professionalism. I'm looking for somebody who's got a professionalism attitude. I'm looking for somebody who, has a strong work ethic. I'm looking for someone who is punctual, who turns their work in on time. And sure, those it sounds like a no-brainer, but those are good reminders to have every week, every month. That way when you graduate, because folks, you're going to graduate before you know it. Time is going to fly. When you graduate, you want to be able to have all those things under your belt. All that really good professional attitude. You want to be punctual, never turning in stuff late. Right? No excuses, right? Because I'm a film composer. If you read my discussion bio, I'm a film composer, and I can't, if I'm working with a director, I can't tell them, I know you told me that you wanted this music next week, but I'm not going to be able to do it because I'm going out of town on vacation, right? They're not going to be like, okay, that's cool. Yeah, no problem. No, are you kidding me? No, I make it happen. If I have to lose sleep, I make it happen. So it's just a good habit. Oh, good. Alonzo read it. So yeah, it's just a good habit to get into. And a lot of us, we might be, this might be nothing new. Maybe you're already into it, but as a nice reminder, yeah, as a nice reminder that those things are key. Whether you're working independently, whether you're working for yourself or for someone else. So why resonate in slideology? The cool thing about this class is it's not your typical public speaking class. It's very different. The approach emphasizes the creative portion of presenting, the storytelling portion of presenting, whereas before public speaking was, like I said earlier, it was long ago. No, well, actually, not so long ago. It was all about a guy just standing in front of a podium, or guy or girl standing in front of a podium. They would just be clicking on buttons, clicking a clicker, and they'd show you bullet point after bullet point. And there's not a lot to remember or be inspired by. Here, we're trying to engage and inspire our audience, right? So this is why Resonate and Slideology are so different than a lot of your public speaking books out there. And now, anybody in game art or game design, graphic design, anybody? Anyone? Well, if you are, okay, cool. Both of these books should come very, very useful to you. They should be very, very interesting, especially for game developers, because it teaches you, how to work with colors, how to work with pictures, and in other words, it's all about the visual aids for presenting. Even if you're not in game design, though, this will help you communicate an idea. Don't ever think that you'll never have to communicate an idea. Even if you have your own company, even if you've had your own company for 5, 10 years, you still have your audience and customer base to think about. So these books, they talk a lot about doing that, how to engage with your audience, how to, discover what they want. So here's Nancy Duarte, the author of both books. Now she's pretty awesome. She is when you see her on the TED Talks presentation, you'll know really fast that she's a natural. She is a born speaker, and she's very, very comfortable on stage. She's really good. What I like about her is that she has a very personal touch when she's presenting. It's not just uppity and kind of like I am the smartest person in the world. No, she talks a lot about her life, and that's one of the cool things about why I think she's such an effective presenter. If I can't relate to you, if I can't connect with you in some way or another, you're dead to me. You are, right? It's the same with every video character that we love, every film character that we love, every story that we love. There's something about he or she that we can relate to. So that's something to think about as far as these books are concerned, as far as every project that you engage in. So now here's the thing. Check out this image. Now I'm going to show you a couple of images just to kind of get our feet wet with how, what we're essentially looking for as far as how to format your images. Now, what we may have seen in the past, we may have seen, a collage of images, or maybe like one image kind of like scrunched to the left of a slide, or maybe scrunched to the right, or maybe we saw a plain white background. What you want to try to do is let the image fill up the entire slide. Like this. Kind of like this right here. Now, and you don't have to have a lot of words on your slides. I always recommend, as far as text on your slides go, less is more. And notice how on this slide, I don't have a lot of words here. The words I do have, they have a punch to them. They're in bold, right? You can see them. They're not lost in the background. Check out this slide. Same thing here. And both images, they're very vibrant. I can see them, they're high quality. Now, same thing as far as the image formatting goes. Notice what I did here. There's no I'm not showing any PowerPoint template or Keynote template. That's one thing we kind of want to get away from too. You guys know what I mean by templates, right? Like anytime you're using a program like Keynote or PowerPoint, the very first time you open it, what's gonna pop up is a series of templates to choose from. Now, I always recommend don't use those. Let the image fill up the entire slide instead, or customize your slides. Utilize color in the background of your images. Very, very important because color evokes emotion. And that's what we're trying to do in our presentations. We are trying to persuade our audience. It's a lot like, we're kind of like film directors. We're manipulating, the audience's emotions. I know it's terrible. So, kind of like this. Here's another example. Check out the text. I don't have a lot of text on here. I don't have a lot of words. But what I do have there, a nice pop to it, very bold, very vibrant. Can you guys see this okay? I think everybody, oh, I thought everybody left. I hate when that happens. And here, all right, moving right along. Okay, so here is activity number 2. Activity number 2 is go get a tattoo. No, I'm kidding. Just kidding. So activity number 2, I'm going to show you a quote. Now, when I show you the quote, just keep it in mind. You don't have to memorize it, but just keep it fresh in your mind. Think about it. Think about what it means. And here is the quote. Education is the kindling of a flame, not the filling of a vessel. Mr. Socrates said that. Education is the kindling of a flame, not the filling of a vessel. Now think about it, right? Think about that quote for a second. Now, here's what I'm going to do. Check this out. Everybody ready? Boom. Now notice what I did there. Check out the background image. I used the same exact quote. Kind of set it off to the side. It's in bold, right? Now, here's what I want you guys to do. I want you to tell me in your own words, and there's no right or wrong answer. It's just an exercise on critical thinking. I want you to tell me what you think about the matching, the pairing of the quote with the background image. What kind of tone does it have to you? What kind of mood does it evoke to you? Do you think it works? Does it not work to you? Do you like it? Do you not like it? And just a few words as far as a little explanation. What do you think? If you like it, tell me why you like it. If you don't like it, tell me why you don't like it. I'll give you guys a minute. So just to kind of summarize what we're doing, I'm basically I just want to know, just type in the chat box what you guys think about the pairing of the quote with this particular image. What mood does it evoke for you guys? What tone? Do you like it? Do you not like it? And so on. That's good. That's cool. I like that, Alonzo. Alonzo said it's cool. Kind of an educational counsel. Jason said the error of the quote matches the background. Very nice. These are really good responses so far. I like the image. Jermaine said, I like the image, gives the sophisticated look that complements the quote. Very, very key words there. Sophisticated look. Omar said, I like it because it shows like a school. Absolutely. Yeah. All right. I like these. These are very, very much spot on. I like where you going. Anybody else? I have to say I agree with all of these responses. I definitely think it does give a kind of sophisticated mood, sophisticated look to it. All right, now hang on to your seats, folks. Check out what I'm going to do. Oh, wait, hold on. Takes out the monotony of a basic white background and makes it more pleasing to the eye. That is an awesome response, Jeff. Thank you. Yes, that is an excellent response. I told Jeff to write that, by the way. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, but that's a really good. That's absolutely true. When um, as much as possible, as often as you can, try not to use a plain white background or a plain black background. Utilize colors. The palette is there for you to use. Why wouldn't you use it? Right? All right, check this out. Same quote, folks. Now look at the image in the background. Now, same question. I want to direct the same question to you folks. Tell me, what mood does this evoke? Do you think it works? What do you like about it? What do you not like about it? Do you like the first one better? Do you like this one better? What do you think? Absolutely, Jason. By the way, thank you, Anna. That is quite true. Jason said the emotion is completely different. Shows dedication even though they are struggling. Boom. That's a mic drop response right there, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. I think it takes from the quote. Powerful and inspiring. That's a key word too. I like that. It is definitely inspiring. Do you see how different it is? Would you guys agree that it's dramatically different than the previous slide? I mean, even though the quote is exactly the same, it's quite different. Absolutely, Jeff. Jeff said it changes the perception of the quote. You know, uh, personally, and this is just my humble opinion, I I love this slide because I feel like it just it hits home. It's more emotional. And one of the things that I love about this particular this juxtaposition, this image is I don't need to know. There's the story of this child, these children, to know that there is a story. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? Like I know there's a story, but even if I don't know the story, I know there is a profound story. And that's one of the things about finding the right image for your slides. Your slide images, your images should tell a story, and the story should be a powerful one. Whether that story evokes joy or tragedy or courage, it should tell that kind of a story. Because you know what, those are the kind of stories that we don't forget. This kind of image we won't soon forget. That's a really good comment too. Yeah. This is awesome. Thank you guys. And ladies and gentlemen, I say guys a lot. I'm sorry. This is exactly what I was looking for. Your responses were right on the money. Thank you. Thank you. This is um, I show this exercise to you guys to kind of encourage you to. I know it sounds easier than, but it's really not. It really can be quite time consuming when you are constructing a presentation. Finding the right image can be very time consuming. You never want to just find the first image that you see. You want to find the best image, and the best image is usually going to be an evocative image, a high quality image, right? So think about that. Now, what do you think about this? Huh? Anyone? Anyone? Yes, yes, indeed. No, I like that, Alonzo. These are good. Buffoonery. You know, I even if you don't know the movie of these two characters, anyone know the movie? Anyone? All right, I'll spoil it. It's Bill and Ted. Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, Excellent Adventure, whatever you want to call it. It's even if you don't know the movie, there's just something about their faces. There's something about, their goofy smiles and their clothes that definitely lightens the mood. It definitely lightens the mood, right? The whole tone and the juxtaposition of the quote with the image, it's entirely different. It has such a dramatically different impact than the previous slides. The first one is the first slide with the philosophers, uh, it had a very kind of scholarly vibe to it, right? And then the next slide with the children in the slums, at that chalkboard, poor shoeless boy. That was a very very inspiring slide with the match with the quote. But this one is like, it's kind of like, I like what you said. No matter your age, you can always be taught. Yeah. And it adds humor, like Jeff said. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, again, another example of how important it is to choose the right image because it can really make such a different impact. Yeah? All right. So, I am going to switch gears a little bit. Let's talk about the 1.4 assignment. All right, we are pretty good on time. Anybody want to see a sample? A 1.4 sample assignment? All right, I guess I can show you. Just kidding. Hold on one second. Let me shift gears. Oh, sorry about the background. Da-da-da. You saw nothing. All right. So let's talk about the discussion first. Now, here's one of the most important things about discussion is, of course, make sure you're proofreading whatever it is that you write on the discussion board. Like I said earlier, try to avoid the lowercase i's. We're not texting. We're not texting our buddies, and of course, in this GoToTraining control panel, I don't care if you do the shorthand thing. I'm fine with that. But anything graded, like discussion boards, make sure you're proofreading. So the other really, really important thing about all discussion boards is make sure you are answering all of the questions in the prompts. Um, every discussion board, every discussion, sorry, let me exit out of here, will have a series of questions. Like here, describe your level of comfort delivering presentations. Are you fearful or are you completely comfortable? Explain why. If you have fears, what would make you feel more at ease? So make sure you answer that question. Again, you can do this in paragraph form. The more detailed your responses, the better. Here's another question that you should answer. Discuss a public speaking experience you remember. Was it good or bad? What did you learn from it? Now, here's the thing. Some of you might be like, I've never done a public speaking thing. I've never done public speaking at all. Well, at least tell me what you think about it. Like, does it terrify you? Do you think you do all right? What do you think, you would like to learn about it? And so on. The idea, again, is first, make sure you're proofreading your work. Second, make sure you're answering all these questions. That is key. Very, very important. So that, folks, is the first part of your discussion assignment. And that's due what? When? Tomorrow? I believe it is Wednesday. So that's the first part. Now, all discussions have two parts to them: the initial post, which is typically due on Wednesdays, and then your reply post. So what you're going to do is you're going to want to respond to at least two classmates' posts. So look for a post written by a classmate and just comment on it. I always like to suggest a couple of sentences for your reply posts. Now, your first initial post, that is probably going to be a little bit longer. That's probably going to be a little bit longer. That should be a little bit longer. But for your reply post, I would say a couple of sentences. That's fine. And that's basically it. The discussion assignment is really straightforward. As long as you're answering the questions in detail, as long as you're posting your reply posts, you should be in good shape. And that is that. So I'm not gonna go through everything as far as like, because that's basically the gist of it. I strongly recommend, if you haven't done so already, just continue reviewing the directions for the discussion board. Now let's shift over to the professional analysis. So it says here, I love that quote by Maya Angelou, by the way. Anyway, so the step one is you're going to watch a minimum of 3 different TED Talk presentations. Minimum of 3. So you click on that website, TED.com, pick any 3 you want, any 3. And then you're going to analyze it. So as you're watching all 3, you're going to keep these questions in mind. Whoa. Why was this powerful or moving? Was it powerful? If so, explain why. What did you like about it? Was it the content, or was it the way the speaker delivered the content? And so on. Just go through and try to answer those questions. So that's the first step. You watch 3 presentations. Next, step 2, you create a document. What the heck do you mean, a document? Well, you can use a Microsoft Word document. That's totally fine. Include supporting visual imageries. So what I mean by that is you want to throw in some relevant pictures. So let's say, for example, you do a presentation on J.J. Abrams. You watch a TED Talk on J.J. Abrams. Well, then you should probably find some images of J.J. Abrams and throw them in there. That is step 2. You answer the questions outlined in step 1. So you watch 3 presentations, create a document, find images, write a short analysis of each TED Talk. And then step 3, last thing you do, you conclude your assignment with your own list of 10 qualities, techniques, or presentation skills that made the presentation you watched inspiring, captivating, creative, and effective from your own perspective. In other words, after you watch all 3 presentations, you come up with your own characteristics. Like you kind of realize, you know what? After watching all 3 presentations, I think passion is really important. And the 2 presenters, they definitely had passion. The third one, not so much. And I think that's one of the reasons why I didn't like that one. Right? So you come up with your own list of qualities that you think make a good presentation. Now, I'm going to show you a little example. Sorry. You saw nothing. Okay. All right, here is a 1.4 professional presentation analysis sample. So your assignment could look like this. Now, this sample right here, folks, this is just a quick and dirty example that I made myself. It's up to you to make it look fancier. It's up to you to make it look prettier. But this is the meat of what you really need on your assignment. Can everybody see this okay? Just let me know. Hello? All right, cool. All right, so of course, at the very top, you want to write your name. Let's write our name there. Write today, the date, right? What is the date today? Oops, Eddie can't spell. November 21st, yes? Write the date. That is very important. Sounds really idiotic, but you know, it helps me. It helps me. I don't want you to spend all night working on an assignment and then, you turn something in and I don't know who it is. So write your name, the date, and the exact title of the presentation. Next thing you want to do, you want to write the title of the presentation that you watched. In this case, here's just an example. This example that I watched was called Why I Live in Mortal Dread of Public Speaking. So I got title of presentation right here. Name of presenter right here. The name of the presenter was Megan Washington. By the way, it's a really awesome presentation if you haven't watched it. Why did I do that? Okay, sorry. Anyway, hold on a second. That's gonna pop up. I don't need that. Here it is, by the way. It looks like that. Okay. Shifting gears. All right, so the next thing I'd like you to do is include the link for the TED Talk that you watched. Just copy and paste there. Underneath that, you want to include your analysis. So just write a brief paragraph explaining what the presentation was all about. Tell me a little bit about it. So that's what you do, only you got to do it 2 more times. Title of presentation, name of presenter, link, include the link there, write your brief paragraph explaining what the presentation was about. Don't forget, you got to include an image. So this is an image I found online of Megan Washington during her TED Talk. Now you might be asking, how many images should I use? I only used 1 image, right? But like I said, it's up to you to make your document look better than this. All I'm doing right now is showing you the kind of bare bones of what you need. So I got my title, named presenter, link. I got my analysis. I got my image. Now let's move on to the next one, right? Because I got to do it 2 more times. So again, same exact thing. The title of the next presentation that you watched, the name of the presenter, the link of the presentation. You want to write an analysis of that. Brief analysis will do fine. Don't forget the image, right? Put an image or 2 and then do it again. Because remember, we got to analyze 3 TED Talk presentations. Title, name, link, paragraph, image, and then, last but not least, include your top 10 qualities. Now, hear me out, folks. You only need 10 qualities total, not 30, 10. How many qualities do I need? Somebody, quickly. Yes, you got it. So now, like I said earlier, this is after I watched all 3 presentations and I came up with my own list. Now, this is just an example, but you know what? I thought a sense of humor is, helpful to have an effective presentation. So, but don't just write humor. Write humor and then explain why you think it's important. Provide me with an example. Like say, okay, in Megan Washington's presentation, she told a joke at minute 2, blah, 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 blah. Give me an example. Don't just write humor. Same thing here. The second quality that I wrote was props. It's interesting when the presenter has a prop on stage. It kind of captivates the audience and sparks their interest because they're thinking, what do they get? Why do they have a cane? Why do they have a mystery box on a stool on the stage? What are they going to do with it? And I have number 3, passion. Passion to me is really important in an effective presentation. But don't stop there. Explain, 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 and provide an example. So I need 10 of those, not 30, just 10. And folks, that is the 1.4 assignment. That's what you got to do. Pretty straightforward, eh? You don't have to write Rick Grimes in there. Just your own name would work much better. But that's it. Analyze 3. 3. Don't forget your image, title of presentation, name of presenter, link in there. And then last but not least, a list of 10 qualities. That's it, folks. I know I said this like 5 times, but just one more time. This is just a quick and dirty sample. I'm looking forward to seeing how you guys like fancy it up. You can include more than one image. I would recommend more than one image because it's going to enhance. Just be thinking, how can I enhance this? You can include borders, stuff like that. What do you guys think? Anybody? Does this kind of like help? No? Oh, good. Oh, thank you. Oh, good, 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 good. Okay, cool, cool. That is a 1.4 assignment. Oh, good, good. I'm glad. That's the great thing about these sessions. If you're like me, I can look through a manual. If I'm learning something, I could go through the manual, the instruction book, and I can read that. But it's nice to have somebody kind of like walking me through it. That always helps. Also, I have to do both. At any rate, folks, we have come to the end of the session. I'm so sorry we ran over a little bit on time, but I just wanted to make sure that I went over that sample with you guys. If you have any questions whatsoever, please don't hesitate to email me at etapia@fullsail.com. And like I indicated earlier, I'm going to be throwing up the session. Sorry, that sounds gross. I'm going to be uploading the recording on the announcements in about an hour. I have to process it and process the whole video and make sure there's no technical issues. All right, folks, but thank you so much for attending this session and participating. You folks have been awesome. All right, have a wonderful day, everyone. I'm going to stop yapping now. Take care.